I've become partial to cities that sit on a body of water, and having lived in Portland for over a decade, I developed this thing for bridges. So when we arrived in the famed city of Porto, it reminded me a little of that Pacific Northwest city that I love so much. Porto has been around since 300 BC. The historic center is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's filled with narrow cobbled streets, beautiful colored homes, and oh yeah, it houses most of the world's port on its banks along the Douro River. So I think that we're going to get along just fine as we explore this vibrant city.
I got a new kind of sexy. I'm working on a recipe for rich and exotic combinations.
Bon dia, Will Vlog viewers, and welcome to Porto. We made it last night after we did our trek from Sintra up through all of the wonders of Portugal that we showed you. Made it to Porto. It was sunny last night, so we went across the river over there, had dinner, actually tasted some port. And then this morning, it's been kind of cloudy, but it's supposed to clear up. I just went for a run. It was a little rainy, but now I think it's going to get nice the rest of the day. Fingers crossed. Porto is a beautiful, beautiful town, and it is known for its port wine. Actually, across the river there, where you see those boats and all those old buildings, you see like the names on the signs, and I'll do a better close-up, but you see these big letters of the last names of people who own these vineyards all over these buildings back here, and those are the original port caves. So you can go over there and do wine tasting through all of those caves, and it's a really pretty view from our Airbnb. But a more beautiful view is if you go on the other side of the river and look this way, and all of the buildings on this side of Porto, this is like the old district of Porto where we're staying at, and all of the buildings look old, but they're also very colorful, so it's really, really pretty. Porto also has a ton of bridges. This actually kind of reminds me of Portland a little bit. We're going to give you a ton of shots of Porto. We're going to go explore as much as we can. We're here for 2.5 days. So we got a little bit of footage last night, but today we are going to go check out some of the churches, obviously. You got to check out churches when you're here. And then we're also going to check out, and I'm really excited to see this, it's Lello's bookstore, Lellos. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you're going to want to make sure you see that. And then who else knows what else we're going to get into? I definitely need to try the cuisine of Porto, which is a Francesinha. Basically, it's like Portugal's version of the croque monsieur. So it's like ham, cheese, bread, cheese, ham, bread, just all lathered and gooped together. So I'm going to try that today. That's why I ran this morning, so I can have the 1900 calories or however many calories are in that thing. So that's what we're going to do. This is beautiful Porto. Let's go explore and see what we can get into. Francesinha of the trip. We're at the most authentic place, or voted the most authentic place to get it in Porto. O Golfino, which I think Golfino might be a dolphin since there's a dolphin logo, but we're about to have it. I'm excited. It's going to be massive and fattening, and I can't wait.
Grilled cheese.
Yeah, that is. What else did you expect? Plain grilled cheese? Portuguese style? mentioned that the pretty side was this of the Douro River was the side that we were living on. So we're actually walking over the pedestrian bridge right now, slash bridge that their metro goes across. It's pretty high up, But as you can see, that's the colorful side of Porto, the Iberia. What's it called? Porto Iberia? Something like that. Iberia. I'm gonna fact check that and then put that back in here. But it's beautiful. We're headed back over to the side where all of the port cellars are at. The wind on top of the bridge was a bit much, so let me finish what I was saying. The older side of Porto, where we're staying at, is called the Ribeira district, and there's a little strip in front of it that goes along the water. It has shops and restaurants, and that's actually a UNESCO World Heritage site. And across the river where we're at now is where all of the port houses are located. We are visiting the only port house that has always been owned by a Portuguese family, and its name is Feria. The interesting thing about port is that they grow and start the fermentation process upriver in the Douro Valley, and then they would use the boats that you just saw in the video and float the port barrels with the port down to Porto and store them in these cellars for lots and lots of years. And the process is almost the same, except they use trucks instead of using boats now to ship the port down to Porto. I'll talk a little bit more about port once we're in the Douro Valley, but if you get a chance to visit Feria, it's one of the better port houses, or the port house tours that we went on, and the port's quite tasty too.
Ready to ride this?
On the sky trip.
You're the first pirate ever to get on the sky trip.
Wait, where are my sunglasses? This is a terrible conundrum.
Better put them on.
I thought I had them on this whole time.
This may look like an ordinary building to you, but in about 15 minutes, when the store opens up, there will be a line up the sidewalk of people trying to get in. This is Livraria Lello. It's coined one of the most beautiful bookshops in the entire world. It's more than a century old, and it showcases Art Nouveau and Gothic details. It's got stained glass windows, and it has its famous regal red staircase. Its popularity grew after J.K. Rowling said this was the inspiration for the library staircase in Harry Potter. So, that is why it is a really, really, really long line to get in here. One tip for you, if you do decide to go here ever, make sure that you buy your tickets in advance, and my recommendation is to buy them online. It'll make your life a whole heck of a lot easier. All right, Will Vlog viewers, that was Porto. We saw a lot in the 2.5 days we were here. While we were here, we got to do some port tasting. Actually, tasted quite a bit of port. Got to do a tour of one of the oldest port cellars in Porto, and the only port cellar that's been owned by a Portuguese family or Portuguese company for its entire existence. Saw a lot of churches. So switched it up from seeing a lot of castles. We just looked at a lot of churches this trip. Ate some pretty good food. Just had a delicious little breakfast dish. And and we went to Lello's bookstore, which was a zoo. It's thanks to J.K. Rowling, that place is just it is a little bit hectic to go there. A lot of tourists, which we are tourists, but just a lot of people there.
But we were the second people through the door.
Yes. So we got some good footage without a lot of people there. So that's gonna do it. That was Porto. I loved it. I think 2.5 days here is a good amount of time to see everything. It's a very, very walkable city. Had a great time. So we're off to the Douro Valley to do some more wine tasting. Actually stay in a hotel, which will be nice. Our Airbnbs have had some fairly hard beds. And that's gonna do it. You good to go? Anything you want to say?
Looking forward to getting to wear contacts someday.
Yes, but she doesn't have her eye patch on anymore, so no more pirate jokes.
Now you can just make 4 eyes jokes.
Yep. That's going to do it. I'm Willer Jackson. This is Abby Steve Urkel Harris. This has been the Will Vlog. You're welcome. We'll see you next time.
For real, y'all.